Welcome to JWL Sports, where we review all the best sports clips from around the country. Now, you're probably wondering, why should I watch over here instead of over there? Because over there, they don't care about what you have to say. They don't read any of the comments. They talk down to us. They say this all the time, that we're just a bunch of clowns in the comment section, that we don't know what we're talking about. We're just a bunch of fools on YouTube, Twitter, etc. But I think it's the opposite. I think we know exactly what we're talking about. So I read every single comment. So if you think what I'm saying is the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard, let me know in the comments below. If you think what I'm saying is the most amazing thing, then definitely let me know. Either way, let's get into some discussions, let's get into some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and it's truly turning into something special. I genuinely believe we can build something that we are so excited and proud to be part of, something that we genuinely feel connected to. And I think we're well on our way to doing that. So without further ado, let's get to it. Watching a clip of The Herd with Colin talking about Jordan Love is the real deal. Now, he has gone so back and forth. I mean, he's admitted this to a degree, although not to as much as he thought. I mean, he needs to admit that he was flat out wrong about Jordan Love, because for years he said Jordan Love's not the guy, and he goes, I got insiders. I talked to people who've seen him play at practices. He's not the guy. He's not the guy, you know. He always says, I give you until Thanksgiving of your second season, and if you're not good, you're not the guy. And Jordan Love looked unbelievable. Unbelievable last night. And again, just like how a player can play really bad and you don't want to overreact, when a player plays really well, you don't necessarily want to overreact. But he did. He looked great. And again, I'm not going to tell you Jordan Love's a Hall of Famer, this, that. I don't know. I'm definitely like, you got to prove you're something before you get crowned something. Dak Prescott. But, you know, he did just look so good. He was throwing, I don't think he threw a single bad ball. The way he navigated the pocket, the way he eluded pressure, his decision making. It was unbelievable. It was exciting, especially because the Packers aren't necessarily my team. I'm just looking for entertainment when I'm watching games like the Packers and, some of these other teams. And so I'm just looking for excitement. And what's awesome is that it's just a fun style of play. So it's just fun to watch. It's interesting to watch. You don't know what to expect. And it just really kind of highlights of how fun and exciting modern football has become. So, he just looked amazing. And after that game, I don't know how if you're a 49ers fan, how you're just like thinking that, oh, I'm just going to be able to steamroll the Packers. There's no reason to believe that. There's no reason to believe that the Packers are going to go, steamroll the 49ers now, like they just did the Cowboys. But at the same time, like, there's no reason to believe that the Packers can't win that game against the 49ers. No ifs, ands, or buts.
An in-season improvement of a quarterback ever like Jordan Love. From week 8 at home against the Vikings, October 29th, can't play. Can't play. Coaching staff ripping him after the game. To, he's better than Aaron Rodgers. Matt LaFleur has done an unbelievable job. 21 TDs, 1 pick in the last 9 games, completing over 71% of his throws. Athleticism, confidence, accuracy. That bye week renovation is unbelievable. He literally went from can't make the cut at the Valero Open to leading the Masters by 9 strokes on Saturday in about 4 weeks. I've never seen anything like it. Now, this is what great offensive coaches often do with their young quarterbacks. Big leaps. But from that to this, I'm not exaggerating. He's cheaper than Aaron. He's more athletic than Aaron. He gets along with his young receivers better. There's no drama. And let's just add this. He may throw it better than Aaron. Now, all kids age at different speeds. And Green Bay was very frustrated with him. I know you're all experts, but, let's not revise history. He was bad. Bad. I was looking at his stats this morning. Before the bye, he was completing a Tebow level 55% of his throws and a 77 passer rating. That's what he was. After the bye, He's like Favre in his prime. 68% completion percentage and 106 passer rating. And the Packers got frustrated. They were critical of him. They were upset with him. But they were also patient. And this is what Green Bay does. And then you add in the drafting of these tight ends and these wide receivers. Listen, this is not just Dallas played poorly. That's not just what this is. Green Bay is a problem. I've talked to Jeff.
And that's also another point that I don't think I emphasized in my Cowboys-centered video, was that the Packers also won that game. That wasn't about the Cowboys losing that game. The Packers won that game, and that was also about the Cowboys not being good enough, right? But to keep it Packers and Love focused, to me, this also really, really highlights the importance of having a true, good, bona fide, younger, innovative offensive head coach like Matt LaFleur, like the Shanahans and all these other guys, because they maximize their quarterback. And so, Andy Reid is the exception because he's like an older offensive mind, but clearly still stays relevant and does well. Also has the luxury of having a Patrick Mahomes, but obviously his track record proves that he's, one of the best to ever do it. But that's why these other teams, like, I don't know why. I mean, do you think Bill Belichick is doing that? Bill Belichick was the head coach of the Packers. Do you think Love looks like that? And do you think that they then, smoke and win 48-32? No, I don't think so. Do you think if you have Mike Vrabel there, I can never say his name, that's what's going to happen? Like, no. Do you think if Dan Quinn is the head coach, and that's everyone talking about hiring Quinn as the head coach, no. So, and then that's like Sirianni, the Eagles head coach. Is Sirianni doing that? No. So I think that's just one of those things where you have to be careful.
Something went wrong. Please try again.
My thing is going off right now. And so that's where you have to go. You have to think about it where when you have a good offensive head coach and you have a good young quarterback, that is the solution to success. Now, you can point out to other rules, exception to the rules like CJ Stroud and D'Amico. That's fine. CJ Stroud might prove to truly be special, right? Like if he ends up really being just a next level Hall of Famer, well, then there's a good chance that he was going to be successful no matter where he went potentially. But also they have a great young offensive coordinator there. I forget the guy's name, but I think he's also from the Shanahan tree and did all that, so he's not some scrub. And so then the problem is that what's a real possibility is that offensive coordinator leaves and then CJ Stroud doesn't look as good. And everyone's like, well, what happened to CJ Stroud? And then, everyone then has that conversation. That's what they did with Josh Allen. That's what they did with Jalen Hurts. That's what they did with Carson Wentz. That's what they did with, trying to think of any other quarterbacks all the time. Justin Herbert. That's been a common thing as well. So there's a very real possibility that their offensive coordinator from Houston leaves and then Stroud takes a step back. His interceptions have gone up or, his completion percentage has gone down. This is what happens. So that's why it's so important from my point of view that you need to have your offensive head coach. He needs to be the brains. He needs to be the reason why your offense is going, because the moment you're successful, if it's all based off of your coordinator, your offensive coordinator, that offensive coordinator is going to get a head coaching job or go somewhere else, and then boom, you suffering. And the Eagles are experiencing that firsthand. The Chargers experienced that firsthand. The Buffalo Bills experienced that firsthand. Many teams have experienced that. The Patriots, right, have experienced that. So that just is what it is. And so I think when you see the playoffs like that, you're just like, wow, that highlights the true benefit of having a great young offensive head coach and a great young quarterback who can kind of do a little bit of everything, right? Because it just opens up everything. It opens up the playbook. It opens up I mean, like, it's just, you can just literally do anything. And when you can literally do anything, how can you defend against that? You can't. And that's why they hang 48-32. And believe me, if the Packers really wanted to, they could have hung like 60. I mean, they really could have. I mean, they absolutely could have put up like 60, which is just bonkers. I mean, it's just insane. And remember, the Cowboys had a really, 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 really good defense. One of the top defenses in the league. So it's just crazy. I mean, it really, really is.
General managers for the last 3 or 4 years, nobody can get a second good corner. Green Bay's got 5 receivers I like and 2 tight ends, and they're not paying any of them, which means they can go buy other pieces. They are a matchup problem. Those young receivers. I mean, yesterday, Jaden Reed didn't even have a catch. He's the most talented one they have. So Favre to Rodgers to Jordan Love. I mean,
And that's the other thing that I just wanted to highlight real fast. And that's what I really appreciate about CD Lamb not being he's such a great receiver, but not a diva. And same thing with the Packers receiver. Didn't get a touch, but wasn't freaking out and crying on the sideline. And that's why I take big issues with like an AJ Brown, because it's like, carrying on at every single moment of the game. And I hate that. And that really matters. I mean, it really does. It can infect your locker room. So that's why the Packers can go a long way. And that's why the Cowboys, if they actually could just get their act together, get a better quarterback, or just get more weapons and pay Dak less money and get a good, young, offensive-minded head coach, then they could be a big threat. But, they don't do it.
That's like, I mean, that's 3 hole-in-ones in the same tournament. Like, that's incredible. Never seen anything like it. I mean, we thought Montana to Steve Young to Jeff Garcia was pretty good. I mean, this is incredible. And what I love about this is that what makes sports so great are not just the upsets, but it's the player development. Listen to even Matt LaFleur can't quite wrap his brain around what he saw. When the coach who sees him, teaches him, mentors him every day at practice, is doing that. Like, wow. Like, he surprised everybody. But this is what Green Bay does. It's what hardworking kids do. It's what great offensive coaches who have a sensibility and feel for it have proven time and time again. But this is not, don't take this as, hey, Dallas just played poorly. No, Green Bay's a problem. Green Bay is going to be a problem for that division and that conference and this league for a long time. There is a cornerback shortage in this league. Green Bay has got a surplus of offensive talent when Jaden Reed doesn't even have a catch. And you're like, their 4th guy is a hard matchup. That was impressive. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Can you imagine if the Packers come in and beat the 49ers? Oh, my God. The storylines will be insane, outrageous. I think it could genuinely be a competitive game, because right now the Packers obviously are feeling amazing. They're obviously feeling that they can beat anyone. I mean, there's no reason for them not to feel that way. So to think that they can't actually go do that, I mean, we know that the 49ers can be beaten. I mean, they got smoked by the Ravens. They lost to a bunch of teams that played them kind of tough. I don't remember exactly who, but they lost to the Browns and played a tough game against the Bengals. I forget exactly how those games. Didn't they lose to the Vikings with Kirk Cousins? So we know that the 49ers can lose. So much of why the people think that the 49ers are so amazing is because that the 49ers smoked the Eagles and smoked the Cowboys. Well, as we've already been through this, the Cowboys are not that good of a team, and the Cowboys only beat bad teams. That's a fact. And then now the Cowboys got smoked by the Packers, and the 49ers beat the Eagles, and the Eagles are losing to the Giants and the Cardinals and the Jets, and so the Eagles aren't that special this year. So them smoking the Eagles isn't that special. So then you have to really ask yourself, who have the 49ers really beat and done well against? And I don't really think there's an answer there, quite honestly. So the Packers absolutely could punch the 49ers in the face and win. I got to think about that matchup a little bit more to see what's going on with it, but it is a true possibility. I don't think the Packers game was such a big, giant outlier where it's like, well, there's just no way. That was just one of those cool, fun stories. And it was just, a luck of the draw of that's just the way that game unfolded, where, it easily could have gone the other way, or where if next week, if the Packers and the Cowboys played again, we would have a different, outcome. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I'm not going to say that it would be another blowout, but it's just to be able to say, well, that was a 1 in 100 chance, and next time the Packers and the Cowboys play, the Packers would win by 10, or the Cowboys would win by 10. I'm not so sure that that's true. So that makes this weekend now so much more exciting. Or yeah, this weekend for the 49ers and the Cowboys. Oh, I can't say any teams right now. The 49ers and the Packers. There's so many teams to keep juggling right now. That makes it really, really exciting. All we need is the Bills to win, and then we get the Bills-Chiefs matchup. And then, honestly, I'm obviously an Eagles fan. We get it. I want the Eagles to win, but let's be serious here. Guys, as just football fans, do you really want to see Baker Mayfield and Tampa Bay go up against the Detroit Lions? Is that even remotely an interesting matchup? It's not, and you know it. And if you think that's an interesting matchup, you're just hating on the Eagles. It's way more interesting to see the Eagles go up against the Detroit Lions, right? That actually has the potential to be genuinely exciting, especially if A.J. Brown gets healthy, Jalen Hurts' finger isn't too bad, and everyone and the other Eagles players can actually play good. Because if the Tampa Bay ends up beating the Eagles, there's a good chance that Detroit just demolishes Tampa Bay, and that's just not that fun. I mean, it's just not that interesting. It was fun with the Packers because the Packers were this young new team, and you're just like, no one really necessarily saw that coming. That made that kind of exciting. Same thing with Houston. But once you start getting to these next rounds, you want these close back and forth games. You don't want a blowout win. It's just not that exciting. It's really not. And again, I get it if you're a Detroit fan, you want to see a blowout or something, or if you're a Tampa fan, you obviously, but if you're just a fan of the playoffs and of football, let's root for exciting matchups. Do you really want to see the Steelers go up against, I guess the Steelers would play the Ravens. I mean, I guess, because that's kind of their rivalry, but does anyone really think that the Steelers could beat the Ravens with Mason Rudolph? I mean, like, the only way that becomes an interesting storyline if Mason Rudolph starts to ball out and you're like, whoa, is he actually a really good quarterback? Like, did Kenny Pickett just lose his starting role? I mean, like, you can make the argument, but, I mean, come on. We want to see, I don't know. It's, you just have to look at these games and see how they unfold. But yeah, that's just the way I'm viewing it right now. We're going to keep going along and kind of see how today unfolds with the Eagles versus Tampa Bay. And obviously the Bills versus the Steelers. And it looks like it's still going to be terrible weather, unfortunately. So I don't know how exciting that game will be, unfortunately. Probably still interesting nonetheless. But the Packers are just a fun, exciting, young team, and it's fun to root for. And I also like Love's story where, he was drafted, doubted, kicked around. People were thinking like he was going to be nothing. You have people like Colin Cowherd pretty much just saying he's nothing, get him out of here. Aaron Rodgers pretty much throwing a fit for why they drafted him in the first place. And now look what he just did. He just balled out. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for the Packers. I think it's good. When we have more of these quarterbacks. I think it's more exciting when we have more good teams playing with more good quarterbacks that can do more magical things. I don't like when it's just like, well, we know every year it's just going to be Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow, or every year it's just going to be, the 49ers. That's not interesting. That's not fun. When it's a year when you don't know if Detroit Lions are going to win, or if it's going to be the Packers, or if it's going to be, the Houston Texans, like what? That's exciting. That's exciting. Football is in such a great place right now. As long as everyone stays healthy, the rest of these playoffs are set to be really, really exciting. And I just cannot wait. But let me know what you all think in the comments below. Do you think the Packers kind of just got lucky, or that Love just kind of had a really good game and he's really not that special? I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts on this one. And please don't forget to subscribe. We are building an amazing community here, and I would truly love to see you part of it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.